You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 11th, 2023 meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call the meeting to order. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Long Beach Building Commission, August 11, 2022. Call the meeting to order at 1 p.m. Larry Wall. Unmute yourself.
Are you talking to me? I'm here.
Jack Coker. Here. Here. Joy Schmidt.
Here.
Peter Weibel. Yeah. Joe Jackman. Here. Lou Mellon. Everybody got a copy of Honor's minutes the other day. The first order of business, and I'll we need to accept the minutes.
Move to approve.
Joy, second. Aye. Pete. We have to have a roll call vote. Larry. Aye. Bob LeMay.
Aye.
Aye. Ken Clausen. Aye. Joy Schmidt.
Aye.
Peter Bible. Yes. Joe Jackman. Okay. Those are accepted. Next up is the Commissioner's report. Or, sorry, my notes are, the months are wrong on those. But this is the report for July of 2023. We had 19 permits with construction costs $514,521, which generated $6,150 in fees. We received 151 calls on permits and or information requests. We responded to or sent 393 emails. We reviewed and approved registrations. We had some MS4 business last month. We had some floodplain webinars, and we did some floodplain research. Lou, you got any? No.
Yeah, 91 visits and 22 was back.
Okay. Business. At our last meeting, we decided we were going to do a new survey. Bob New volunteered. I don't know how much volunteering there was, but we're going to get down to the beach and get that done. Next up is the MS4 requirements. The August MS4 meeting for the Northern Indiana District was held at Long Beach Town Hall on August 1st. Everything went fine there. We hosted, she set it up, Renee helped us out, everybody was in good shape. Our first annual MS4 audit was completed. We passed the administrative end, no deficiencies. We had 2 minor deficiencies in the facility end, and those were, one was complete, the other is in the process of being completed. So our MS4 audit was very good. Next up is the coastal resiliency groups. We had our first, or my first, board meeting with the DNR's Coastal Resiliency Board, and we're coming up with some grants that we're going to look at. And we're still waiting to receive the master plan from the DNR group. And I always forget what that name is. And do you remember the name of the one that's doing the plan for us? It's another coastal resiliency group. It's actually under the DNR. So when we get that, we'll present that to this group. Next is the building partner software implementation is moving forward. Lou's a real wizard at it. Payment processing system, that has to be voted on by the town council. And I spoke to Laurel today. We have to make sure there was one system that was proposed. There were 2 systems that the iWorks people used, and they sent that information to us. We chose the Payrock system just because it was the most economical and seemed to be what most of people use. We had a budget meeting last week, and Christian Senator asked about making sure that that software, the payment system, would work with the town's accounting software, which I'm pretty sure is Civic Plus. So we're gonna have to do some more research on that. We'll talk a little bit today, and I'll get some information. We, as the building commission, don't have any fiscal responsibility, and I expressed at the budget committee meeting and to Rural today, I prefer to keep it that way. I'm sure you would too. Joe?
Yeah, just one question. We've had misunderstood at the budget meeting. Do I have, as the bill, do I have a choice if I'm gonna pay through the system or I'm gonna bring in a check?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Bob, I just want
Yes, we felt, just the three of us that are doing the training, and I shouldn't speak for anybody else. I felt that it was the best situation would be, it's most likely going to be a 3 to 3.5% loan. To use the credit card. And that is not charged to the town, it would be charged to the user. So, you know, on a $50, $100 permit, that's not much, but if all of a sudden you get a $1 million permit or $500,000 permit, you have the option to be able to come in and pay it with a check and quick service. Next up is a solar ordinance. We should set a date for, we don't actually have to do it at this meeting, but if everybody could just give me by email some dates in the next couple of weeks that we could get together on that. Or Chris, that looks like you got something to say on that.
Well, just because we spin our wheels on these, I think between you and I, we should suggest a series of dates, especially because there's another agenda item. And because of notification, we have to have at least 48 hours, not including the weekends. So I think that we should put out to the group some suggestions and see what works versus waiting for everybody to give various dates and trying to piece those together. My suggestion, you're the decision maker.
Thanks, Chris.
And I'm not saying right now that setting that date, what I'm saying is just send out to everybody, here's the contemplated date,
Okay.
how many can we make?
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry, I'm not putting pressure on you to have a date right now. So I know there's other items that you may want to have a special meeting to consider because of subject matter.
You can lead a horse to water. Thanks, we'll do that. I'll send those out later after the meeting today. I'll send some dates out and see if we can't put that together. 1612 Indianapolis. We just enjoy, I'm not gonna put the burden on you. I think we're at the point where we know what we want, right?
Yes, we've given, well, there are two options and you needed to get together with Chris to determine.
Okay,
Yeah.
I promise I will do that in the next week. And then we can finally get this off our plate. Captain's Walk property, the building permit. I think it would be best, I've sent some emails back and forth with everybody. Is everybody, I think I still see two sets back there. I would encourage you to pick up the set and go through it. Coupled with the solar ordinance, I asked Chris earlier if we could do a workshop with the solar ordinance and with this project, so that we can discuss it. Kind of, I'm not sure how a workshop goes, but
So just to explain to everybody, because of the enormity and the uniqueness of the project, and there's a lot to be considered, the suggestion or thought was we could combine a workshop on the solar ordinance, could also at the same time notify and have a special meeting. And the nuance, we could have the whole thing titled special meeting, with the benefit of having special meetings that you can make decisions during the special meeting. Same nuance, other one is little, you can handle as informally you want, but that way it gives some time to deal with developer, whoever's communicating with you with regard to the Captain's Walk project, and not putting that off a whole nother month also, because time is of the essence in these. But that project, I think is gonna entail a lot of, discussion.
Yes. Does everybody, do we need to vote on that, or does everybody agree?
I think if you take a consensus, then that will be included in the dates that we send everybody.
Does everybody think that's fine, Joe?
Yes.
Joy?
Yes,
Yes. Ken? Yes. Lou? Yes. Yes. Pete? Yeah.
I'm a yes.
3007 Mayfield, if we don't hear anything in the next month, we'll just take this off the agenda. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's the one that they had they wanted to rehab the house. It's a pretty nice job. But part of the area that they wanted to renovate and enlarge is in the right of way. Or I'm sorry, not in the right of way, in the setbacks. And we told them the best thing to do would be to modify the plan or modify the permit and come back to us so that they could do all the other work inside and the siding and the windows. And then put the other part of that permit on a separate, or part of the other part of that job on a separate permit. And then we could deny it, and they could go to the BZA. And that's been at least 3 months ago. So if we don't hear anything else, I think we will just take that up. Next up is 1514 Lakeshore Drive. That's the plan review that was requested. We have gotten back to the owner, the Morans, as well as the architect, Roger Potratz, let them know what the deficiencies were, and have not heard back. I sent an email to both Roger and to Bart Moran this week, asking if there's any update. So I'm not really sure if they're
Larry, I think I have the right property. Is this the one where they're referring to a lot across the street where they're gonna have parking?
There's two. One is the house, which is actually 1514 Lakeshore Drive. That's a complete renovation, adding a second floor. And that had some encroachment issues with the front. And I think it was one, I'm not sure, it might have been two sides. And then there was also a height issue. They were over 33 feet. And there was also a second request for, I don't know if it has a address, but they own the property on the south side of Lakeshore Drive or the hillside, and they wanted to put a garage in there. So that was a pretty simple request from us, took back to the owners and the architect, and that was to provide us with a site plan and then some elevations. And we haven't heard back.
Now, Larry, if I remember, and because we did one of those before, I thought the one thing they'd have to do is combine that lot with the other lot, because I thought the ordinance said the parking has to be on the lot. But I could be wrong. I'm just throwing one out.
I don't know how that works, if you could combine lots that are across the street from each other, but I could certainly mention that to them.
Okay, if there's something, I don't know, maybe Chris has to give us some advice on that. I don't know if having a lot that's not connected, they can use that for the parking. I don't know how that works. And you don't have to do it now, Chris, I'm just saying.
We'll check into that. 2711 Duffy, we asked for a letter which we received from the Lake Claire Homeowners Association, no objection. The only other thing that they would have had to, we informed them they had to do was get a floodplain permit, and they decided that they would take the deck into the lake off of the permit. And so the rest of the permit is provable. Okay, so I guess we should. Pardon?
I moved to approve.
Okay, Julie, second,
Can I? Okay,
Joe,
question.
go ahead.
I was looking at it and on July 1st, if I have everything correct, we approved the permit for that property for fixed rotting house.
For what?
Fixed rotting house,
Right,
that the house was rotting.
Right.
Now, is this the same permit or is this a different permit?
No, this is a different, they want to do, I think, interior renovations. I can't remember if they're on site. Are you, no, you don't represent them. All right, let me look it up.
Yeah, and the only question I have is if you could give me a copy, let me know when they submitted that from the second permit.
This is just exterior deck.
Yeah, I thought it was just the back one,
Isn't it rot repair and
Yeah,
the back.
right.
So the rotten repair is a separate permit that we approved.
It's slowly.
Oh, okay.
so,
Yep,
Thank you.
yep.
okay, so I don't need to look that up. Next 18 is 3007 Middle Road. We have not seen the proper site plan. They basically had a picture and a pretty crude drawing of what they wanted to do. I talked to Chris about that property was annexed or annexed, whichever is the correct term, during, I'm 10 years ago. I guess it doesn't really make any difference. So when that property came into the town of Long Beach, it is a non-conforming property. I'm going to bet the coverage is 85%. So we just want to make sure we can't hold them to what they already have, but they couldn't increase that coverage. So that's all we wanted, was just have a proper site plan with them, and we don't have that yet. 1911 Lakeshore Drive, they wanted to put a golf cart pad. I don't remember if it was stone or concrete. Concrete up next to their house, and they exceed coverage. So we told them they could do that. They're going to remove the golf cart pad from the request. So that I don't know if I haven't approved it yet, but I certainly can. It doesn't have to come here because there's no need for it. Larry, just so I understand, do you know for sure, is that the one that was submitted on June's one? I don't know. Okay, no, I'm to learn to follow, there's multiple permits to figure it out. June 29th. Thanks. 2006 Somerset, one thing we're waiting on is that's the house that was demolished. They didn't have their septic permit in line. And they ended up having some issues with the septic permit. So they talked about putting a septic service or a septic system in the back or rear of the house, which would have been acceptable, but the problem was the back of that would require excavation into a pretty steep grade, which would have required another permit. So we've been on site a couple of times, and what they decided to do was move the house back so they meet all the setback requirements, and then they put the septic system in the front yard. And we were waiting on a site plan, and I think I see it right here in front of us.
Right.
I'll go over that and I'll send an email out to everybody in that. Again, it was a permit that we already approved, but there's been some issues with that.
The new site plan shows, the proper, base of the foundation. Property. It should be that.
Next up is 2622 Oregon Trail. Blue Meadow site, we had a problem with the site plan. It didn't include all the hard surfaces or the coverage numbers. Blue Meadow site explained what we needed. They sent their coverage numbers in, and they're well within, they're below 20% or 23%. So a permit is approvable, but again, it needs to be voted on because it's a change in coverage. Is everybody familiar with that one?
Those are the calculations of anybody. I brought sure. We should have, you know, from.
Well, reduction should be less. We're done, it'll be less than what it's on right now. So we should come out there and vote on it. And when we see goals, we made it coverage, you know, the false pool, and we do less than.
Yeah.
Everybody familiar with what we're talking about here? I'll pull it up on screen.
But I ask you a question on
Yeah, go ahead.
it says likely removal or the
Fire during, speak up, having a hard time hearing
Yeah. Actually, the community is very, like, people were going to have to read it, there's very few people maybe decided that.
Can we turn on the microphones and talk into them, please?
you. There you go.
Sure, so the putting green will likely have to be removed, it's very old, and likely will have to go around the side anyway with the machinery.
So that's another 297 that won't be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and right now too, it's also the green, so it's not really, it's not a hard surface, right? It's carpeting kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The pull down is actually a reduction in coverage.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Sure. And Pete? Any more discussion? Larry, yes. Bob and Meg?
Yes.
Becker? Yes. Ken Clausen? Yeah. George Schmidt?
Yes.
Five votes. Joe Jackson?
Abstain.
Okay, next up is new business.
Lee? I have a question. Hi, this is Amy Van de Streek with Benchmark on the Captain's Walk project. I wanted to ask why there was no discussion and when this special meeting is scheduled to be held.
We won't know. We're gonna set we're gonna send some dates out after this meeting to the building commission. And we're gonna set a workshop. And we're gonna talk about the Captain's Walk project as well as the solar treatments. And I'll make sure to let you know when that meeting is gonna take place.
So I'm a little confused as to why no discussion has been held for the past month while when the paperwork was submitted on
I'll clarify.
July 7, and why we're pushing this out now. We're ready to pour foundations next week, pending this approval that we expected to obtain today. So I would like to know why it has not been thoroughly reviewed and ready to vote on today.
This is Chris Willoughby, the building commission attorney. As you can appreciate, it's an enormous project with a lot of details, and this commission, first of all, cannot communicate and make decisions outside of this meeting. So this is the meeting that's scheduled. And there was discussion earlier in the meeting about setting a special meeting to accommodate, and certainly mindful and not unsympathetic to your schedule of wanting to pour foundations. However, they've deemed it necessary to have a separate meeting at which to consider this project and go through it thoroughly because of, again, the complexity and the details. So that was the decision that was made. I'm not sure if you were on earlier in the meeting when that discussion was had. So there will be quick turnaround. There's a 48-hour requirement with regard to notice of setting up that meeting, and it'll get set up quickly. But today it's determined by the building commission that they need separate time to consider this, and you're obviously encouraged to be there and answer questions they may have.
Can I ask, if we can have approval for structural, since it was already reviewed by the town engineer, so that we can proceed with our construction schedule?
You know, Amy, I mentioned this during the last meeting, and no construction can start until the permit is issued. At the last meeting, when we voted to approve the land disturbance permit, the caveat with that permit was if the building does not get approved, the building permit does not get approved, the site would have to be returned to the condition, well, obviously could it be returned to the condition it was in. As Chris said, we certainly appreciate your construction schedule. This is the most complex and the largest project that's ever happened in our town. And we want to make sure that everybody on this commission, as well as the engineers that are involved with the town, has the proper time to go through this. And I think you can appreciate that. I'm not even sure how many pages are here, but it's a very complex project, and everybody needs the time to be able to review.
So, I mean, it's a large project. It's not particularly complex. I understand the scale of it is a lot. However, it's been a month now and we've requested comments, questions, and I think, Larry, you told me a couple days ago that you still only had one comment. So from my perspective, it seems like the project isn't getting the due attention it ought to. And if a special meeting was anticipated, why that couldn't have happened sooner?
I'll let you know when the special meeting is going to take place. Anything else, Amy? Okay. I forgot what it is. New business. You know what, there's one person here from new business, let's get that check first. You know what? Did I leave it off? Would you, yeah, on page? It's 2110 Lakeshore Drive. 2110 Lakeshore Drive.
I don't have that written. Or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, they're adding.
I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. Everybody got it last. Right. Let's see.
Is this Park Road?
Yes. Okay, here's the permit. You guys have stuff.
What's the date on that? Is that August 4th?
August 4th. Remove existing pavers of parking area, replace with new pavers, no change in coverage, landscaping per plan, new concrete grill area. Hot tub is not included in this permit. Beach stairs are not included in this permit. I'll bring up the survey as well. This is the right one. Okay, I'm just going to take the.
So this permit is just for replace and repair of new pavers?
Yes, and there's landscaping, hold on, I'll bring. Okay, there it is. This area is pavers now, this area is elongated one along the shore, right here. That's existing pavers, they're gonna remove them, they're existing pavers and existing rubble wall. They're gonna remove the pavers and remove the rubble wall and replace it with new material. There's also this landscaping area here is being redone. And this concrete slab right here is being, I'm not sure, I guess, Dan, I'm asking you, I don't know what that is now, is it just brown or is it?
Yeah, that's brown.
It's just brown. The coverage calculations are here. Existing coverage is 25.8. And the new coverage is 27.32. Any questions? Comments?
The only comment there is just a minor confusion because there was another permit that was submitted and that's already been approved.
Right, that's the replacement.
So when the thing was made properly.
Right. Yeah, that came in earlier this week. I just approved it as the standing stock.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Pete? Joy, second. Larry, yes. Bob Lemay?
Okay.
Michael? Yes. Ken Clausen?
Yes.
Joy Schmidt?
Yes.
Pete Bible? Yes. Joe Chai?
Yes.
Okay. You're all set.
No.
Yeah. Thank you. 2619 Oriole Trail, that's a new house. It was built, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. The owner is going to put in a permit for a fence. The owner is going to stake the fence, who is going to review it to make sure that it's within about 6 inches inside the property line. I don't know if that requires, well, we better do it just to be safe.
Well, we found the fence, okay, and that was the goal for a while. It was questionable whether the fence was there for the property line. We've found fence for the property line and spring and run, and I'll be approving it based on fact the fence would be 6 inches at that property line.
Okay, any questions? Motion to approve? Pete?
I'll second.
Thanks, Joy. Larry, yes. Bob Lemay?
Yes.
Ken Clausen? Yes. Joy Schmidt?
Yes.
Pete Bible? Yes. Joe Chai?
Yes.
2215 Chestnut. They submitted a permit. I don't even know the date. It's honored your remember the date was. And their contractors information is not complete, so the contractor was registered
6/23.
on June 23rd. Typically, when that happens, the information is not sent through because it's obviously the contractor is not registered. So unbeknownst to us, the work was done without a permit, being approved, nor registration of the contractor. Honor has tried, and I won't speak for Honor. I don't know how many times did you try to contact them?
Yeah. Several.
And so Honor tried to contact them several times, and they never responded. So, it's up to us what we want to do. John, you had it up on the street, or Ken, you had that up on the street? Whatever it is,
2215 Chester.
2215 Chestnut. I'll pull.
So, on the floor, maybe issue 60. Essentially, a majority of the work is a landscape job, but they have added, keystone red, area, sitting area, in the front yard, which, they've already exceeded their, coverage. So, we would not allow them to, they would have to get variance for increased coverage.
Can I ask a question, Larry? Yeah. Are we going about this the wrong way? If they did something without a permit being approved, I think that's the discussion we should have right now, is how much we're gonna fine them and what they have to do. And
Right, the discussion for us would be what we want to do about this.
right, and then we could review later whether we approve it or not, after all of that is taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah, so work was done without a permit and the contractor is not registered. To me, we just recently passed an ordinance that said that the owner and contractor are both fined $500, I believe.
I agree. So I guess we would just need direction as to, I'm assuming that what you're telling Lou and I is that you want us to issue citations for working without a permit in a non-registered contractor. Is that? Yes. Okay. Does that need a vote, Chris?
We don't need to vote that, no, but, okay, that's how the authority.
Question?
Yes.
Okay, so we're taking this approach. When then are we gonna ask them to, once things get straightened out, to submit a new permit so we can then review it?
Yeah, I don't know, Joe. I guess that would be up to whatever the board decides, or the commission decides.
There's basically two parts to this, application here, but it doesn't show it in their application at all. It's a landscaping job. But, which of course doesn't require a permit, but there's also, added coverage. In the right. So, and then, non-registered contractor, working,
Well, okay, I would suggest then that once things are straightened out with their fines, that we would ask them to submit a new permit so we could review it all.
We can do that.
And we really shouldn't be looking at permits where the contractor is not registered. And frankly, there is a thing in the ordinance that talks about daily fines. Given that the work is done and the contractor is not registered, I would suggest that if next month we're ready to look at this permit and the contractor is still not registered, then we need to think about those daily fines.
Honor has not been successful in trying to contact these people, the contractor. So we'll issue the tickets and then where's the contractor on? Hold on, before.
Who is it? Four Brothers Landscape.
Where is it?
I don't know, off the top of my head, I can look it up.
Low.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should send a registered letter to both the owner and the contractor explaining to them the jeopardy that they're in.
yeah, that would be necessary because, nobody's there.
Okay, we'll do that. I should say Chris will do that. Okay. Next up, 2001 Lakeshore Drive. This is another problem we've had. We wanted to, I got it, so is everybody familiar?
Larry, yeah, I skipped 2506 Glenda.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 2506 Glendale. Is everybody familiar with that one? I can get.
This is the fence, right?
No.
It says added deck, et cetera.
So it's not, that's free. Let me share this. Concrete removal, adding deck to the front of the house, remove and replace retaining wall. This is the permit that was received on July 24th. Roger Botratz supposedly did the drawings. I'll hold the drawing up. Drawings here. No, this is the one drawing, sorry. For God's sake.
Here's where they're mentioning the permeable pavers, which I don't know if they think that helps them. That helps them. Yeah, at the bottom.
For some reason, I can't seem to find the drawing.
They're above, they're at 38%, and they think if they replace their side with permeable pavers, that they can get rid of 2,500 square feet, but that's not so. They're still going to be at 38.
Okay, can everybody see this? There were a couple issues here. Number one, the coverage issue. Number two, so with the coverage issue, putting it into non-conformance, the lot is actually a non-conforming lot to start. So with the coverage issue, they cannot increase coverage. That's number one. Number two, it's not clear. See this where my mouse is moving back and forth? That's 38'4". That dimension is to the house, not to the deck. We need to know the dimension they're proposing from the lot line here to the deck. Same thing here. This dimension on the side lot is 16. I can't see it. It's 16.5. We need to know that dimension. Same thing in the front section here. We need to know the dimension from this cord on the lot to what they're proposing. We need the deck size, as well as, I'm not sure if it's red situation. It says area to be removed to be 35%. So that looks like they would remove all of this entire area. But then it says, number one area to be removed, 249 square feet of concrete. Building deck in area 2 at 249 square feet. We just need to have more than 50. I think is what the case is. They can build on a non-conforming lot as long as they don't increase the coverage. And that's not really clear as to what they want to do here. And we also need to be cognizant of they need to let us know what the setbacks are. Nobody can go in the setback unless we as they said, instead of PTA.
Larry,
Yeah,
quick question. And again, probably, I'm just looking at the permit. We've got Harbor Electric, I can understand that. We got Healy Landscaping, we got Deutscher Construction, we got Roger as the architect, and we got JC Handyman. So how do we know who's running the project? Because he's under a contractor, then it's JC Handyman we go to, or who? do we-
yeah, right. He's the general contractor. That's who applied for Jason Ganning. And so these other people on here are subcontractors.
Okay. Just so we have that straight.
So what's the coverage on that big strip out front, that's the right plan. Exactly right.
That's our problem, Pete. If you look up at the screen, there's some dimensions here, but the dimensions don't really show, they don't say what anything really is on the drawing. And these drawings, these highlighted areas are not definitive as far as the dimensions as to where they are on the lot, where they are from the rear lot line, where they are from the side lot line, where they are from the front lot line. There's drawings attached underneath, but the drawings are not, if you look at these, the drawings are not what they're doing. You know, there's cross outside.
Goes around and the house that it says it's gravel.
I don't know what that is.
They have a note on here that makes me think that they think if they remove concrete and replace it with permeable pavers, that's okay. So can we make clear to them that's not okay?
It's not. So this, basically, we need much more information. Lou, I didn't put him on the spot because we talked about it Tuesday at our meeting. But I don't think Lou's had a chance to go over everything with Joe Gatzka, who's the owner of the construction company. Okay, next up is 2001 Lakeshore Drive. I'll pull that out here.
If I looked at it correctly, I think what we're talking about is replacing grass with pavers. And I don't know if we saw enough for the percentages.
Here's the permit. They say 26 by 14 grass area to be brick. And then they're treated nets and they get to it. You guys see this? This is the back of the house. So if they want to, see where the cars parked over here. They want to replace this area with paving brick. We're not saying that they can't, but what we have to have is we have to have a drawing in calculations and I don't know, Lou, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. Lou's tried to contact them numerous times and it's just not that successful.
This has been a house that's been for sale for number of years, and people want to put it in the garage in. It far exceeds 35% as it is. So there's no way we can allow brick grass area unless they go to DC.
I guess that solves that problem. but we still would have to have proper documentation, even for us to say no. Okay. Next up.
Larry, will this new permit application process with the computerized process going to prevent this? I mean, will the computer stop people from submitting incomplete applications, or is this going to continue to be a problem?
Well, yes and no. We just did that in our training this week. So we actually put a permit in, and there are, I mean, everybody here fills out forms on the internet. So usually as you go through a form, there are required sections, and then there are, let's call them optional sections. We want to make sure everything that we need to see a permit or to review a permit is on there. So you won't be able to if you hit the submit button without those asterisk points having been filled in, it won't accept it.
Good.
So, and that's how it is with unincorporated Fort County. They don't use this system. They use, I think, Beaton Snyder's system. And it's the same way. You can try all you want, but if you don't put in the required, if you don't fill in the required boxes, you don't.
Okay.
No, you can put X's in all the boxes, so you can still submit it, but.
Fine.
Okay. Next up, 1700 Lakeshore Drive. I'm going to explain this, but because it's a purpose that I put in, I'll explain it, and then, but I'm going to have to recuse myself. Well, I better share the screen. Here's the permit. You guys, what was this? Last Friday, I think, Connor.
Yes.
The plan is to excavate an inspection hole at the highlighted area of the site plan. That elevation is 593, 594, 595. On completion of the inspection, the grade will be returned to 593, 594, and 595. The inspection is necessary to determine the location of an existing buried seawall for septic system location purposes. I'll pull the drawing up. This is the old Gallagher house. For you guys, anybody that want to know where the property is. So this is Lakeshore Drive down here. The house is here, and this is the side texture, so to say. This highlighted area is the area where, if you look to the left of the drawing, you can see this section where I'm moving my mouse back and forth. That's a steel and concrete seawall. Bob Gale, the owner, stated that seawall goes through his property, but you cannot see it. And I think, as everybody here knows, in order to do any septic systems, you have to be 50 feet from a seawall, 200 feet from a drinking water source. But if you use a Prisby system, you can be 50 feet from the water's edge, which in the terms is the seawall, even though the lake is out here. So that's what the permit's about. I can answer questions, but I can't vote on it. I'm going to accuse myself.
So Larry, where this excavation is going to be is above the natural ordinary high water mark?
Bob, I could understand you.
Where you're going to do this digging is above the natural ordinary high water mark?
Yes. You can see the where the greens here. I'll blow this up. You see these numbers here. Each one of these numbers represents a foot. So we're at 593, this line, 594, this line, and 595. So this area that is to be excavated rises 3 feet from east to west. I know it's a bone of contention, or it's contentious, or whatever we want to say. Right now, the Army Corps of Engineers in the DNR says, see this note right here that I'm moving my mouse on? That's what they use is 584, is for the natural ordinary high water mark. Well, I won't even bring that up. That's for another discussion, I suppose. That's going to be redone.
Are you getting behind the seawall on the lakeside?
Behind it. Yeah, this seawall here is on, if you guys know Zafar Rizvi's property.
What?
Zafar Rizvi.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Bob Gallagher's whole place.
Yeah.
There is this seawall is visible, but this is not over in this area. So Steve Fate, who does the site work for Soil Solutions, who did the soil studies, doesn't want to draw the septic system in without guaranteeing that this wall is either here or it's not.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I believe I'm trying to look at your diagram, and you have your green dot, and to the right of that, you have a straight line, and to the right of that, there's a dotted line. Where is the easement on this property? I think it's right there.
There's see this dotted line right here?
Yeah.
And then the solid line,
Yeah,
that's an easement for property owners that do not that live in stop 17 to use this beach.
they live,
It's not a public access, but I don't know how many. I know it's 7.
no, okay, no, that's what I'm asking, just as you said it. So therefore, you're not even, I don't even know if you even care, if you have to be careful of the easement or not, but you're not even going to be in the easement anyway. Okay.
And Larry, is there vegetation distal to where, lakeward of where you're gonna do the digging?
You can see on here, Bob, if you look to the, let's say, top and right, see this, where the arrow is, and this says line of vegetation. The vegetation is here. This is the total slope out here. We're behind that area.
So I've got my orientation. The lake is at the top or at the bottom?
Yes, the lake is up here.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe this will make more sense if I do this.
So we were well behind the vegetation line.
Yes, it's street side. You can see the toe of the slope here, and the vegetation line is right behind it.
Yep.
Bob, I didn't measure it. I'm sorry. I would expect it's probably 30 feet. Well, what's the scale of this?
Well, and you're just digging to see where that buried seawall is, and then possible septic system is going to go well landward of that. So, I don't see a problem with this.
Yeah, I'm not responsible for that section of it. I'm doing it because we happen to know the owners. So they asked to do the hole, and I said, yes, but it requires permits to do it.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
One question. Larry?
Oh, wait, I can't do this. Bob, Pete, you have it. Pete. Joe has a question.
Joe, question? Yes, I just wanted clarity, and I think it is clear, but I want to make sure in my head that we're not approving anything to do with a septic tank. All we're doing is approving for this company to dig the hole and then refill it. Am I saying that rudely, but maybe, is that okay?
Yes. Okay, I recount my okay, Bobby May.
Approve.
Yes. Oliver. Yes. Schmidt.
Yeah.
Jordan. Yes. Bible. Yes. See this hat. This is which I realize this is very good because there's a whole another topic about that exists right now. Any comments on the building commission? Pardon, any commentary or comments from the building commission?
It's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, free approval, application here received, on the eighth, what's that? The final day, that, we should, look at this, see if there's any, the application.
Luke, can you talk into that microphone better?
What was that again, Bob?
Sorry, Bob. It's 1610 Nicholsport. They're tearing down their existing house and want to put up a new house. And they've put in an application here for pre-examination so that they can get going on this without any problems.
So I'm not clear.
1610 Nicholsport.
So they submitted a plan review. I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. Actually, it is on the screen. What does it say? We have it somewhere.
August 8th.
No, this isn't it. How many have to have you spent doing this?
Okay.
I can't seem to get what's there.
Can I ask while you're looking there, when did we receive this plan review?
August 8th.
August 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, here you see it. Does everybody see this? So they submitted this for a plan review. They want to tear down the house. They want to start in November. They think it's going to take 6 months.
Isn't this after the cutoff?
Yeah, it's not, Lou just brought it up. So I can tell you what I will be done looking at this. I compiled a list of things that are necessary, that they're not on the drawings. And I will have to go through it and make sure that if anybody else has any questions or comments before we send it to them, before we send the review off. There's several things there that weren't included. I think there's calculations, there's some setback issues. There's no protections from the building. Well, here, I'll just show you. That might be easier. So.
I mean, it says the plan is your. It's under your computer. And get the recommendations and then.
Yes.
Take them back. There's nothing else to do right now. Right. So I said, we can talk.
So
You have comments from the.
let me just make sure that I might agree with Peter once in a while. We're saying that there's a plan review that will be reviewed by you guys, and then we will see a permit. And that's the permit that we're gonna vote on and talk about.
Yes, right.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Anything else? Any other stuff? John?
You're doing a wonderful job, because
You're seconding Joe's motion?
Public comment. Jeff? You know.
Jeff Wright, Austin Associates. I think I can do this in less than a minute. I've been out to the Captain's Walk site frequently, and I was posed with a question about working on Saturdays. I didn't have an answer to that. If they are allowed to, it's like a noise issue. 7 to 5, I think, is the regular. They can work on Saturdays. Okay. That's all I have.
You do it quiet.
I mean, just for just a quick update, I still have about 30 seconds on my minute. I met with Reggie out there, Miss Corthals, and she was on the site, MS4 wise. And so the project is really kind of going. They're installing the well points for that dewatering system. And Amy was on. I don't know that they'll be ready next week to pour concrete or not. Okay. So, and if I can be of any assistance at all on this upcoming special meeting, just let me know. I'm more than willing to come and support technically.
Thanks, Jeff. Any other public comment?
Yeah, this is Milo Bayless, 1517 Lakeshore Drive. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just a couple of quick questions. We sent in PDFs of the hopefully last requirement for our sand disturbance permit. And I was just wondering, do you need hard copies of that for next month's meeting? And if so, how many?
I'm going to have to recuse myself. Somebody else had to talk.
Speak generally, I mean, I don't know what the requirements, just generally what the requirements of submissions are.
Okay. Milo, we asked for 7 copies. If they're 8 or not 8.5, if they're 11 by 17, if you have them that size, you could drop 7 copies off here. And then you can send them through to Honor in PDF form.
Well, I've already sent the PDFs. I'll just get the copies made. Okay, we'll drop that off next week. Okay, second and last question. Trying to get our certificate of occupancy, which we were told that until the citations were resolved, we couldn't get that. And now that I am told that they are, I'm just wondering what we have to do to get that. So I've been trying for 2 weeks to get a hold of Lou. I guess you guys have been in training or whatever. So, I mean, that would explain it, but where do we go from here?
Well, this is Chris Willoughby, the attorney for the Building Commission. I just want to, I'm not trying to be obstructionist, but public comment isn't a give and take. I think that your comment is duly noted, and someone will get in touch with you early next week at the latest to discuss that process. So, and if not, you have my email, you can contact me and I will make sure that you get an answer, but that way we don't have we'll make sure that it's addressed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I have a question for that gentleman. I was just looking, and I don't know if it's correct or not, but on the latest building commission citations 2023 that we all got today, I was curious that they ended up paying $400, and
it was determined at a previous meeting that was the proper amount.
Oh, is that what it was? It was determined at a meeting?
Yeah, at a previous meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other public comment? Motion by Pete.
Second.
Joy. Larry, yes. Bob Lemay.
Aye.
Michael? Yes. Ken Claus? Yes. Joyce Smith?
Yes.
Pete Bond? Yes. Joe Jackman? Yes. Thank you. God, you will count.
Just to facilitate things, Lou, could you give Mr. Bayless his certificate of occupancy? I think I've been following that email chain and there's no reason we shouldn't give it to him.
We're good.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Turn it off.
Just stop. Hey, just stop.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then I have to hit pen down the screen.
Where?
I'm gonna see, no, and the other side. Oh. And be for all.